Alright, so hi everyone. Today I'm gonna go through on reliability. So reliability and the other skills such as usefulness, surprise, you know, and yeah, this is basically it. And also hybrid. A little bit on hybrid and a little bit on comparison skills. So all these I'm gonna go through today, and hopefully you'll be able to understand. And if you have any questions again, please remember to text or leave a comment. All right. Okay. So first one is reliability. I'm gonna go through it as fast as I can because actually these skills are actually overlapping each other. So what do you mean by overlapping? That means that it's almost the same. It's almost the same, but just a few key words are changed. So I'm going to go through only one, which is reliability, but the others I'm also going to go through. But when it comes to, explaining, I will not go through in depth for the other skills. But if you like an individual going through for that skill like in detail, please say, all right, please give a comment, please give feedback, and I'll be gladly to do it. All right, I'll be glad to do it. All right. So first thing is reliability. So what is reliability? That means as the word says, how reliable is the source? So how reliable are you? All right. So usually it is reliable, usually, but not reliable. In a case of not reliable, that means that maybe something is biased, maybe something has a hidden agenda to it. With the hidden agenda, that means it's making it biased, thus not reliable. All right. So that is basically reliability. With the others also, it's almost the same. It covers an umbrella of utility and mainly reliability. So yeah. All right. So you guys just see it over here. Okay, but mainly you see, all right, the concluding statement is talking about how reliable is it. Okay, but anyways, let's go back to this. So first is reliability. How reliable is source E in telling me the effects of globalization? So in this case, we're going to talk about how source E is reliable, etc., etc. This is the format for the first part. So there are two parts. You have to understand that there are two parts here. Okay. The first part is mainly talking about your inference. So you have to infer regarding the source, in which we have to ask about source E. So remember the format that I told you guys? The first one is answer. Sorry, my handwriting. The second one is to infer. Alright. Is to infer. Then the third one is to support, or your evidence, in which I will just put support. Okay. Oh, no space. Then the fourth one is to explain. Okay, explain. Okay, I got no space. Explain. Okay. So that is basically eyes. Or A-I-S-E. Eyes. You got the eyes. Eyes. Alright. So that is basically for inference part. So the first thing you have to know is, I always tell you guys, alright, in the last video even, please remember to answer the question. Answer the question, please. I cannot stress this enough, because if you don't answer the question, you can't get marks. Alright, I gotta frankly say it to you because it's very important. So this is the answer part, okay? And you have to put that in, you have to insert it in, because you're answering the question, you have to be direct. As simple as that, okay? And next, you gotta talk about your inference. So your inference is your second part, okay? So in this case, I'm going to talk about how globalization, mainly I put globalization as an example because again, globalization is the most straightforward topic. And I think that this will be very clear cut, alright? So for example, we put here source E is reliable in telling me the effects of globalization. Now that is your answer. What happens to your inference? Inference is your second part here. Okay? Then it comes to your support, or your example, or your evidence, whatever you say, but I put it mainly support. So this is your S. Then lastly is your explanation, and this is your E. That is it. The first part is as simple as that. Is your normal inference. That is it. Okay? First part, normal inference. Just remember, first part is always normal inference. Okay, now let's go to the second part. Second part, there are actually about two parts here, but mainly if, for example, you're writing, against or support, it's just two parts. That's it. As cliche as that, as straightforward as that, that is it. Okay, so in all this is only two parts, right? So once you're done, you got to see whether it supports. That means it's okay. It's okay. All right. Contradicts, that means it's not okay. That means it goes against the main source. Now you might ask, what is the main source? The main source is here, source E. We're talking about source E. Remember, we're talking about source E. We're not talking about another source. We're talking about source E in this case. All right. Depends on the question. So let's say if it supports. If it supports, that means it basically says that the claim in source E is correct. It means it's reliable. So this is the format. When I cross-refer to source G, very important, okay, very important, it shows that source E is reliable as source G supports source E. Now this is your answer, okay? This is your answer. Then next is your inference. Okay, in telling me the effects of globalization has brought about a negative impact towards foreign workers. Why you need to copy the inference? Okay, it's not a need, but I suggest you to copy your inference because if it supports, it's basically just, that's it. You're copying it. When you're copying it, it makes it clearly that it's the same inference, it's the same thing, it supports. So that is why you copy, you save time. Alright? So then this is your I. Then next is your S, as per normal, and this is your E. Okay, now next one is one additional step. Now this step is very important because, for example, if you do not write this step, you can get a 0 for the second part. Okay, why? I don't know why, but the reason, the thing is, you must put it in the concluding statement. So this is the one that really helps you a lot. You can put it at the start, but I suggest you can also put it below here because it makes sense. You're saying that it supports and all that, and then you say it's reliable, then it makes sense. So the concluding statements are just these 8 words. Alright, there's a spelling mistake there, but it's just these 8 words. Since source G supports source E, this makes it reliable. That is it. Alright, that is it. If you're not confident, you can also write, since source G supports source E, this makes source E reliable. That is it. Keep it to about 8 to 9 words or 8 to 10 words. That is it for the concluding statement. Then it tells the marker, hey, I'm done with this paragraph. Then that is it. Okay? We're talking about if it supports. Now what if it contradicts? Contradict means or goes against or challenges or whatever. Alright, goes against something. Same thing. When I cross-refer to source C, it's very important. It means you're telling marker, I'm cross-referring. It shows that source E is not reliable as source C contradicts. Now, some people do not put the correct source because you didn't read. You must read it carefully. For example, if source E says about how a government initiative is very good, it is very polished, it is very nice, okay? We're not talking about reliability here, by the way. We're still talking about cross-reference. But we cross-refer to source D. Now source D says, it's the same thing, it's very good, it's very reliable, the government initiative is very good. Then, straight up, it will be supporting thus reliable because something supports. But don't put that it doesn't support because it doesn't make sense. That is it. It doesn't make sense if you do that. Because it's trying to say that you're contradicting yourself by putting another source which is wrong. Yeah, okay. So this is basically it. It shows that source E is not reliable as source C. Let me continue by the way. When I cross-refer to source C, it shows that source E is not reliable as source C contradicts or challenges source E. Remember, key source here is source E. Alright? So in telling me the effects of globalization has brought about a positive impact towards foreign workers. Now, why do you twist the inference? It is here, but twist it. Why do you twist the inference? The reason why is because it goes against. When you goes against someone, you do not follow the same person, or you don't follow the same statement as someone, because it's going to say that you're contradicting yourself. Then why not put it as a support? But in this case, you're talking about contradicting someone or challenging someone. When you challenge someone, it is different. It is switched. So that is why you must put another inference, or maybe something close to it, if you know you got no more time. So like I said, please read it carefully. Please read the source carefully when you're contradicting or you're supporting, because if you do a mistake, it's gonna be wrong. Okay? But I'm not trying to scare you here, but just make sure that you read it carefully. I'm sure that when you look at it, it will be as clear cut as it is. It will be so good that you will be happy. Alright? And you get the marks. Okay, anyways. So yes, this is the A, this is the I, this is the S, and this is the E, and the concluding statement. So the concluding statement, it changes a little bit. Since source C contradicts E, thus making it unreliable. Okay? Thus. Okay? But let's say if you're scared. Since source C contradicts source E, then in this case, this makes source E unreliable. Okay? So there are two ways. Okay? So you can put since source C contradicts source E, this makes E unreliable. Okay? In this case, you can also put another alternative, which is this. Alright. So that's basically it. It's the same format all over again, all over. It is almost the same. It is almost the same. And I can't reiterate this enough, because it's all over and all over again. It's copy and paste basically. Right, that is basically it. Okay, so next, usefulness. How useful is the source in telling me the effects of globalization? Again, usefulness and reliability, they're almost the same, but there's a bit of a twist. Why? You'll find out. Okay, so first thing first, you must answer the question, source E is useful in telling me the effects of globalization has brought about a negative impact towards foreign workers. So this is your answer. Next is your inference, support, and explain. Now, keyword that has changed is useful. Alright, that is it. For usefulness, useful has changed. That is it. And maybe the source. But again, usefulness, only the keywords here, useful as of now. Alright, let's move on. Now, if it supports, then you'll just remember, like what I say, when I cross-refer to source D, it shows that source E is, instead of reliable, changed to useful, as source D supports E. So again, it's just copy and paste. Okay? And in this case, this is your answer. Because you're cross-referring, you're telling the marker, oh, I'm cross-referring. Then this is your inference, support, then it's your explain. Okay, and that is it. Now next, since source D supports E, this makes it, oh my god, this makes it reliable and hence useful. Now, why is it, you might wonder, why must I put reliable? Why cannot I just put useful? Well, if it is useful, it makes it reliable. It's all about, here is really about reliability. Reliability is like a big sister or a big brother. Then like, all these other skills are like the small brother, right? All the adik's and all the kakak and like all the younger siblings. That is basically it. Alright? This is what I'm saying. So basically, you have to write this. Since source D supports E, this makes it reliable. First things first, this makes it reliable and hence useful. That is it. This is it. that is what you're gonna add it in. Alright, since source D supports source E, this makes it reliable and hence useful. That is it. Happy, we're all happy. Alright, so again, AISE, this is the format that will come out every single time. AISE, AISE. Alright, so please remember that. Eyes, you got eyes? Of course you got eyes. So please remember to use AISE. Alright, next, if it contradicts, same thing. You must put when I cross-refer to source C or another source, it shows that source E is not useful, as source C contradicts source E in telling me the effects of globalization has brought about a positive impact. Remember, twist it. Alright, A-I-S-E, that is it. AISE, eyes. Alright, remember to twist it because remember, you're contradicting. Alright, you're contradicting someone, you gotta go against it, so please twist the inference or maybe change a little bit, change more words, add more words. Right, and yet again, remember, we are asking about the main source here. We're not asking about another source. We're just finding another source either to support or contradict or go against or support or whatever. Okay, yes, that's basically it. Next, concluding statement. Since source C contradicts E, this makes it unreliable. Okay, makes it unreliable and hence not useful. That is it. Concluding statement done. Alright, I'm gonna go through as straightforward as I can because it's very important. Alright, and I don't want to keep on yapping or talk too much about it because I don't want to do that. Alright, too lengthy, alright, and too detailed. So yeah, this is basically it for about 2 of the skills here under utility. So yeah, so let's go to surprise. So next we'll ask you, how surprised are you about source E? I put source E because typical source. We're talking about if not surprised based on content. Alright, so in this case, you gotta put about I am not surprised by source E as it tells me the effects of globalization has brought about a negative impact towards foreign workers. Alright, we're talking about content here. Content meaning your source. Okay, so just to clear that up, source. Okay, I'm not surprised by source. I mentioned many ways, by the way, but actually I'm talking about content. I'm not surprised by source E as it tells me the effects of globalization has brought about a negative impact. You're not surprised when it is expected. Okay, simple logic. I'm not surprised when it is expected. When you expect something, you're not surprised. But when you're surprised, that means you are unexpected. Okay, so that is what you can remember. It's same, it applies for both history and social studies. History and social studies tells almost the same tale, but it's a bit different. Okay, so anyways, you must answer the question. Answer. Then this is your inference, support, and this is your explain. And that is it. You get that part. Remember, AISE. Okay, first part done. Okay, second part. When I cross refer again, it's the same thing. When I cross refer to source D, it shows that source E is not surprising as source D supports E in telling me the effects of globalization has brought about a negative impact towards foreign workers. Done. That is basically it for that statement. Answer, inference, support, and explain. Concluding statement is almost the same, but the reason why I say it is a different thing is because you do not have to add whether it's reliable or not. So remember, usefulness and reliability, you have to add whether it's reliable. Surprise, no need at all. Please, no need. Okay, so then you just have to put since source D supports source E, thus making it not surprising. Simple, right? So if it supports something, it's not surprising. If it doesn't support, thus it is surprising because something contradicts another source. All right. Okay. Okay. So another error here. I don't know what's with these errors, but when I cross refer to source C, it shows that source E is surprising as source C does not support. Oops. Does not support source E in telling me the effects of globalization has brought about a positive impact towards foreign workers. Alright? So then in this case, let's think about your answer. Inference, support, and explain. I really apologize for all these mistakes, and I will rectify it as soon as I can, as fast as possible. But I don't know what's happening here. I think it didn't load properly. But anyways, I will rectify this issue. Apologies for that. I really apologize for that. Alright. So then after that, it's answer, inference, support, and explain. Alright. So as per normal, does not support source E in telling me the effects of convention has brought about a positive impact. Okay, and so on and so forth. So then, concluding statement. Since source C does not support E, thus making it surprising. When it does not support, that means you're surprised lah. Because something goes against what you're saying. Of course you'll be surprised. Because another source is going against, right? So that is basically it. That is it. Just remember, eyes. You got the eyes? Of course I got the eyes, because I got the AISE. Alright? So that's basically it. Alright? So please remember all this. Especially, please remember, alright, that reliability, okay, and usefulness has to put reliable or not reliable inside its concluding statement. Please remember that. I cannot stress this enough. Please remember that. So just remember that these two are besties. Alright, they are best friends or brother and sister or whatever you want to call it. They're very close. Reliability and usefulness, they go together, and you must put whether it's reliable or not in its concluding statement. If not, you can get it wrong. I'm being serious. Please remember to put it in. Surprise, you don't need it. You just have to put the concluding statement, whether it's surprising or not, and that is it. Alright? Now, one thing I didn't mention here, in which I really don't advise, is to put a Pac-Man or Catman, which is to put the purpose. You can put it if you want to skip this whole part, alright? This contradicting, this supporting, you want to skip that whole part, sure. But it does not guarantee you to be correct. You can try it, but it does not guarantee to be correct. What I'm doing here is to really go through level 1 to 3 skills, because it is the most easiest, and you can get to about 6 marks, 6 out of 7 marks at most. If you don't want to write a Pac-Man, it's okay. I'm not forcing you to do that, because it is not needed and you're wasting your time, and it's only 1 mark. Okay, so the Pac-Man or the Catman, okay, or the purpose here is there. It is there, but I really recommend you not to do it, because you're going to waste your time. You're going to take a long time. Alright, so regarding the purpose, if you want to evaluate the purpose of the source, you can go ahead, but it's going to take a time, and if you're not confident in doing it, you can get it wrong. Simple as that. Okay, alright, but I might go through it sometime. If y'all want me to, I will go through it, but if you do not want me to, it's okay. I will leave it as it is, because I do not advise. I advise just to have 2 steps, go to another question, save yourself. Alright, please. Okay, last one is surprise hybrid. Now, surprise hybrid meaning there are 2 skills. 2, okay? But it is a bit complex, so if you want to take your time with this, you don't want to listen to it, it's okay. You can wait until later on when your school teacher goes through it. Then maybe you can rely on this as support. But if you don't want to do this, it's okay. You can skip this. You can just end it here. It's fine, right? So let me just go through surprise hybrid as quickly as I can, or as detailed because you need to do this. All right. So after reading source C, are you surprised by source D? Now the reason why I say depends on question is because sometimes they can mix it up. The question can be mixed it up. The question can put instead, are you surprised by source D after reading source C? Or they can just put a jumbled up mix of words. They can instead just replace this, not putting some atas other words. They can put that. Alright? But in this case, most of the time it will be just this format, or this question type. After reading source C, are you surprised by source D? Okay? So in this case, it's just that. But sometimes you have to read it because they can swap it. You can swap it. So they can swap the way that they put the question, but it's the same. Alright? It's just the same. Okay, let me go through it now. Which is, the first step you have to do here is to compare. I think I won't go through comparison because I mean like the detailed how to do a comparison, because comparison is the most basic. Alright, you have to compare two sources. That's it. Alright, so the first thing is to compare. So you gotta say whether it's similar, whether it's different, because you're asking about two sources here. But the main source here, we're talking about source D. Talking about source D, whatever the question says, you must read it. We're only talking about one source, mainly one source. Realize the trend here. All the other sources also talking about one source, mainly. It's not talking about two sources. You might think it's two sources, but no, it's mainly one source. Okay? So, let me just go through. After reading source C, I'm not surprised by source D as they are similar. Similar in terms of its content. Alright? In telling me the globalization has brought about a negative impact. So like a similarity question, they have the same inference. You do not have to write it both. I advise you not to write it both. I know your teachers might do it, but this is a shortcut. Just put it as that. After reading source C, I'm not surprised by source D as they are similar in telling me about whatever, okay, etc., yada, yada, yada. Yes, you don't have to write about the two sources because they have the same inference. They are similar, all right? So in telling me that globalization has brought about a negative impact, okay, you are answering the question here. Then you are inferring. Then you're supporting and your explanation. Then you are explaining here, and that is it for it. You have to explain both sources, by the way, because there is a similarity. So in this case, after reading source C, I'm not surprised by source D as they are similar in telling that globalization has brought about a negative impact. Okay, that's the inference. Put the supporting detail for the two sources. Source C states, source D states. Okay, then after that, you can explain on the behalf of two sources, both sources. This is what I usually do. This shows that both sources are similar in telling me that whatever you want to say, and then you explain, and that is it. Similarity, done. Alright. Now, I'm not going to go through on difference, because difference I'll leave it for another video. But, or if you want me to, or if you not want me to, it's up to you. Similarity, I strongly advise you to do this similarity because difference is very hard to find. I'm telling you, because difference, it can be hard, it can be easy, but when it comes to you doing the second part, it will be challenging a little bit, because the second part is the cross-reference part, in which if you do let's say if you do a difference, you might have trouble doing it. Alright, and it is a bit difficult, because you see here the concluding statement in the second part, it tells you another story. So please I advise you to find a similarity. If you cannot find, I really cannot help you there. But if you cannot find, the only feasible and easiest option here is to not do this if you find difference, but instead to do the Pac-Man or Catman or the purpose. The reason why I do Pac-Man or Catman is because both is almost the same, okay? It's the same. Okay, but anyways, so purpose. Then instead you skip. If it says here difference, if keyword if it says here difference, it's very hard for you to do the cross-reference, because cross-reference you need to write, or since source E does not support, there's many things involved. There are many things involved. Alright, so please, I strongly advise you to find a similarity. You can find one, trust. Okay, you can find. Okay, so let me go back to it, because I drift away because it's very important. If it comes out difference, then how? Then this second part can be a bit hard for you. Okay, so first part, we're done. We're finding about similarity. Remember, similarity. Okay, so second part, you have to cross-refer as per normal. When I cross-refer to source E, it supports D in telling me that the effects of globalization have brought about a negative impact towards foreign workers. Done for this answer and this inference. The next is, this can be seen in source E, source D. Then you support, then you explain as per normal. Cross-reference part. Then the concluding statement, okay, it gets a bit, you're a bit complicated here, because just follow this. There is no other way. I strongly suggest you to do this. I strongly suggest, because I don't want to force you. Okay? Since source E supports source C and D, because in this case, talking about the sources here, both sources here, the question is asking that. Okay? So since source E supports both sources C and D, thus after reading source C, I'm not surprised by D. Because source E supports both, thus you're trying to say that, in the end of the day, you're not surprised by D. That is it. Boom. That is it. Mic drop. Alright? So that's basically it. You have to know that, and I'm not going to touch on it because it's very complex. I think I'd rather have it in another video, because it's very complex for me to explain it. But just have to remember, first part is to compare, second part is to cross-refer. First part is to compare, second part is to cross-refer. For similarity. Highly advisable to find similarity. Highly advisable, please. Alright, I'm begging you. Similar. That is it. And you will get about 6 out of 7 marks for this question. If you do all the steps correct, you do the correct concluding statement, bam, you're done. Alright. So yeah, that is basically it for now, because I can't explain it here all in one video. I need to have it in another video. Alright. So yes. Alright. So that's basically it for utility plus hybrid, surprise hybrid. And I really hope you learn a thing or two. If you really don't understand anything, please leave a comment. You can text me. I'll be able to answer it. If you want me to give a video, a private message video, or explaining about this, go ahead. Alright, just leave a comment, and I'll be able to help you with your needs. Alright, and help you with any questions if you have, because it's very important for you to really know what you're doing, and I don't want you guys to make mistakes while doing your paper. Alright, so make mistakes in practice, but please don't make mistakes when it comes to your paper. Alright, so that's basically it. If you have any questions, yet again, please leave a comment, and I'll be able to answer them. I'll send in a video. I'll give a brief video if you'd like to, and just remember to leave a comment if you have any feedback as well. Alright, I think that is all. Okay, I'm not going to go through a lot. I'm not going to keep on talking, but that is all, and I hope you enjoy, and bye bye, and hopefully to see you in the next video. Alright, bye bye.